All right. It's Friday. We're live. We're back. What's going on, guys? Sorry, I'm a minute late. Friday the 26th. We missed you last week due to us up in Salem, Oregon. So kudos to everyone that raced. I think there was a ton of races going on. We had Salem, Ohio. There was a Long Beach Legacy Tri, and then I'm probably in Lake Placid. Can't forget that one. So there's always a ton of races going on. And we, fortunately, that we had a really good time in Salem, and we got to meet a lot of the Team Zooters and reintroduce ourselves to people that we have met before, including Beth from Louisiana. So yeah, Ashley Anderson, one of our team captains, just chiming in. Ashley dominated the race. I was going to say she passed me on the bike, but I never even saw her. I saw her on the switchback. Coming back from the turnaround, she was just absolutely flying. Never had a chance to catch her. Same with Carolyn. Carolyn was racing too. So kudos to everyone. It's so cool, and again, such a cool part of being on the team is race day. And we do this with the captains every year. So most of the captains were out there in Salem racing, and just like you guys, we are all aspiring triathletes, and so we love getting dirty every once in a while and reminding ourselves how difficult that this sport that we like to do is, which is pretty cool. And another guy that was in Oregon, Kevin Driscoll, passed me on the bike pretty hard towards the end of the bike leg. So, and I never caught him on the run. But anyway, it felt really good. We do like to race, at least once or twice a year, just to kind of remind ourselves, like I was saying, what it's like to experience the race day, experience on course, what we could improve on and stuff. So it was really, really cool. So that's why we weren't here last week. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on. So let's get right into it today. We have some special guests that are joining us from just north of where I'm sitting, just north of LA, LA proper. And a lot of you guys know, maybe you guys know these dudes. I want to talk a little bit about Jim specifically and his life leading up to triathlon. But they, you may have seen him in, maybe it was a monkey suit that used to be in the monkey suit, right? But every once in a while, I see specifically Jim. He still races as a pro. I think still races as a pro. Maybe he's an amateur now. I'm not sure. But at least he was a pro, and I still see every once in a blue moon run into him. Big guy, super infectious, loves the sport, is a really good coach, and they have probably one of the best swim crews in the nation, and they specifically kind of focus on the triathlon swim, and that's why we have them on. So Gerry Rodrigues, Jim Lubinski, what's up, gentlemen?
Oh my God, this is an honor. Gerry, wouldn't you say this is an honor to be on Team Zoot? Friday, 2 p.m. call?
Nothing better to do. This is the place to be.
You know what? Fact, go ahead, Gerry.
No, in fact, it's a good opportunity to meet Mark, whose name I've known for quite a while, but never got a chance to meet.
Okay, we're gonna tell the gorilla story. But first off, I want to say I hate Zoot. I hate Team Zoot, Gerry, with a passion. But I love you guys.
That's good. That's actually really good.
I hate you guys, but I love every race we go to. Team Zoot, #1 in the club rankings. Tower 26, 2. You got what? How the hell are you guys getting thousands of worldwide athletes coming, just flocking the Zoot? I mean, is it your good looks? Is it Sean's good looks? Is it just your luck? What is the deal? How is Team Zoot so successful on the worldwide stage, bringing these athletes in to race under your colors?
Well, I think you nailed it right on the head. It's my good looks for sure. It's funny you say that. I think it's, it comes down to first off, it comes down to the product, which, I was going to save this for off the top, but like, why aren't you guys racing in Zoot kits? I'll get you a better deal than whoever you're using now, and the kits.
Gerry's light up. You see Gerry's eyes light up.
The kits are going to be faster, guaranteed. So that's a win-win. Done. We'll talk about that later.
Well, Sean actually called me last week. Sean, the owner operator of Team Zoot, right? Or Zoot
Zoot, yeah.
Zoot, you're the owner of Team. You're the head of Team Zoot. He called me, said we got this new banana hammock. You're gonna love it, the Tower 26 guys. So we already got the order in for that. But regarding the tri-suits, we'll see what else is coming.
Well, like I was saying before I brought you guys on, Team Zoot, it started as a, and I've told this story before, and I apologize for those of you guys who heard it, so I'll try to keep it to a minimum. But the team started in 2008, and Carolyn, who is one of our captains, and by the way, we couldn't do it without the captain. So I had all the sales and marketing here at Zoot. We're a pretty small company, but I also I'm in charge of Team Zoot. So, but I rely on our captains throughout the country to kind of manage their regions and be the boots on the ground and the touch points for all these people. And, Carolyn was one of the original Team Zooters, and it started back in 2008, right? There wasn't many brand teams. I think it was just Waddy and us back in the day. And, with the elite, I mean, you guys, Gerry, triathletes first off, and then, like even super high elite triathletes, and then the ones that like aren't that elite, right? As their personalities, they're really hard to manage. You got someone over here. It's like, I have different sponsors than this person. And like, it started just getting like too out of control. And we're like, all right, that's it. We're just going to make it an ambassador team. And it was pretty small for some years. And, as we started racing, what the best thing that we kind of, Sean and I, when I say we, so Sean's the owner, and him and I we would be racing these events, and we were like, dude, it's so awesome when like people are just like, go Team Zoot, right? And so we're just like, let's just ramp it up, and really oh yeah, Carolyn Smith corrected me. It was Timex. That's right. I forgot about those guys. So what we decided was, hey, let's just expand the team and open it to everyone. So, I mean, as you guys know, being in this business, right? So you have the people that are just starting, right? That don't know anything, that are like, do I wear my underwear on race day? Like what's going on?
I wear under my wetsuit? Am I naked?
Yeah. And then you have the people that are like qualifying for Kona and pro athletes, right? So you have a big range, and we need those people at the top end of the spear for sure. We need those people. They're super valuable and they validate our brand, our sport. But, in order for the sport to continue, we need, the people that kind of are at the bottom. And those actually kind of are my favorite people. When we work all these events all the time, and, I'm always at like an Ironman, and it's a full distance Ironman, and I'm talking to people, and the guys are like, he's like, oh, my brother wrote me into this. Like, I don't know what do I need? And it's like the day before the race. And I'm just like, oh, dude, that's awesome. And so that's kind of where we decided to grow the team. Plus, as many of you guys know, our products are really good, but we own our own supply chain. So we have our factory. No one else makes our stuff. We produce our own apparel, and we develop and design and innovate our own stuff. And
Gerry, you think Mark's pitching us right now? Is he pitching us?
Yeah. Well, what that enables to do for everyone listening is we give our team like the steepest discount of anyone. Like, we give team members 40% off anything at Zoot Sports for the whole year. So it's like, we all know how expensive this is. Plus, especially if they're paying for like some high-end coaches like you guys, and wheels, you got bikes, you got all this stuff. It so adds up, and not to mention like race and travel itself. And so we're like, in order to get stuff at a discount, it's pretty cool. And we only have 2 prerequisites, so I don't know if you guys would qualify, but maybe you gotta wear the kit on race day, and then you gotta be cool. You can't be a prick. Like, we don't.
I think we'd fit in well. I think we'd fit in well. Gerry would fit in well. I don't know. You ask my athletes what you think. But Gerry, you actually have you're something you say pretty often about that same thing, where we get a reputation for being a high-end coach, but in reality, I mean, what's the stat? Most of our swimmers what's that stat you spit out all the time?
2/3 are beginners. 25% have been around for a while, and the remaining are elite athletes.
But like Mark said, it's fun to work with those beginners, because you just see drastic progress just by focusing on what we focus on, which we get into. You see this drastic progress.
Plus, they have no egos.
Yeah. Well, maybe in San Diego or in LA, but the egos are overflowing with ego over here.
So how long have you guys? So what? How did Tower 26 start, Gerry? I think we'll start with you because I want to know the story, and I want to talk a little bit about Jim's kind of rise to coaching stardom. And a lot of people don't know that Jim was a hockey player, which is super interesting in itself. Yeah. Well, but let's like what happened with
a professional hockey player, not just a hockey player, a pro hockey player. Had no teeth for a while.
All fake right here.
Really?
Good dentist. I have a good dentist.
Yeah, don't cut Jim off on the bike course.
No,
don't get into it.
We're like that old video game Road Rash. It usually turns into on course. So, Gerry, you want to take that?
Yeah, I've been coaching for a long time and been involved in triathlon since the beginning days, the early 80s. And then right around when you guys were getting going, in fact, I'd met with Sean also in Hawaii. And I decided, I want to coach specifically triathletes because nothing's changed, by the way, Mark, from 1983, the first year I went to a race, to now. You look at the start line of any triathlon, and 90% of the people in that start line are thinking, you could just tell, it's in their eyes, I just got to get to my bike. I just got to get through this swim. And I thought, gosh, I got to change that. I mean, we've got to make this swim more enjoyable, make it something that you look forward to, make it a weapon rather than what it's been. So I started this Tower 26 thing that was targeted primarily for triathletes. We started that, I think Jim went into 2010-ish, 2009, somewhere.
2010, 2010.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Mark, it just, I think within the first 2 or 3 years, we were coaching probably 80 pros and hundreds of athletes all over the world. I mean, it was pretty crazy. It grew like a, madness.
Wildfire.
And in fact, a lot of pros moved from all over the world to join us.
Yeah. And tell everyone where you guys are located, if those of you guys who don't know.
Yeah, we have a couple of facilities in Los Angeles, and then my wife and I moved to Santa Barbara a few years ago, so I'm now in Santa Barbara. But Jim,
I'm sorry, Gerry. Oh, that must be hard.
Hey, Dana Point. Dana Point. Are you talking about?
So Gerry moved up there to be the Santa Barbara location. We have the Los Angeles Pacific Palisades location, and then we're in El Segundo. We have a pool. We're looking for a spot in San Diego. So Mark, if you're willing to stand on deck and spit out some swim sets, you can head that up.
Hey, I grew up wrestling, dude. You don't want me.
I grew up playing ice hockey. I'm telling you.
You don't want me.
Right?
I swim like a brick. Ask Ashley.
Well,
I'm the one that needs you guys,
buddy. By the end of this hour, just speaking to us, you're going to be a 1 minute per 100 swimmer. So you don't even need to swim. You just listen.
All right, I like it. So Tower 26. So you guys, that's a lifeguard tower in Los Angeles, right? That you guys do your open water swims. Is that where the name came from?
Right, exactly. We started our swims at that location and then have our pool sessions. And I just decided to name it Tower 26. Seemed different and a little catchy.
That's really cool. And for the guys who don't know, Gerry has a very impressive resume himself. Talk about a couple things you did before you became this coach icon, Gerry.
It's better if Jim talks about me rather than me talk about myself.
All right.
He's won countless open water swimming events. Like you said, he's been around the sport of triathlon since, what did you say, 1983. You've been coaching swimmers since, what are we going on, 50 years now, Chair? 40 years. Let's say 40 years.
This is my 42nd year, yeah.
42 years of coaching swimmers and around the triathlon discipline. But, what have you won? You've won around the Manhattan race. You won peer-to-peer in Manhattan Beach. How many times? What was the number of times you won peer-to-peer?
Quite a few.
Everybody knows peer-to-peer. He's very understated, but the guy can swim as well. So very established. And like he said, he's coached countless pros and, 10,000 times that age group. So
the thing, Mark, was, it's easy to go out and just swim a lot, which is what sort of most athletes try to do. And then when I was racing, I found that, and I grew up in an era where we were swimming 80 to 100K a week. So you talk about when somebody says they swam 6 to 10,000 this week and they're totally fatigued. I mean, it's like, okay, fine, whatever. We used to swim 80 to 100K a week. So, but it's not effective.
Uphill both ways.
Well, the thing is, it's not effective. It's all about volume, and I self-coached after college and decided, you know what, there's a better way to do this. So I raced against all the who's who that were swimming 80 to 50 to 100K a week, and I was swimming 17,000 a week. And I won over 100 races all over the world. And I thought, this is the stuff that we need to be teaching triathletes who have a limited amount of, you have a limited time budget because you have 3 sports to deal with. The swim is only, depending on the type of race, it's only 10 to 17% of the duration of the race. So how do we optimize your time best and get you the highest yield for the amount of time that you're putting in, rather than just showing up at a pool, going back and forth, or going to the beach and swimming for half an hour and thinking that that's the best way to optimize your time. So I decided to put a program together and make it effective, and it became something special for a lot of athletes.
And we'll show you some sets. We have a subscription plan that we send out to athletes all over the world, and we can break it down. I picked out a good set, and everything that we do is specific to the triathlon and open water swimmer. We're not doing a ton of fly. We do throw some in there occasionally, but we're not doing backstroke, breaststroke. We're not doing tons of kicking drills. We'll do drills that work into what's best for our swimmers, but it's all based on what Gerry has put together and learned through his own racing and his coaching over those 42 years. That's integrated into this, that leads the triathlon and the open water swimmer to those results. Not only being performance prepared for the swim, but coming out of the swim ready to let it rip on the bike and the run.
What happens if you don't know how to do a butterfly?
Once you can do freestyle, you can do butterfly. It's that easy.
I get a shovel. I just peel people off the bottom with that shovel.
Dude, I just started flip turning like a year and a half ago.
That's way harder than doing butterfly. Come on.
Yeah, you know what? It's so interesting because, like you said at the beginning, and it's really kind of cool to hear the reason why you started this, and it's awesome that you've been doing this for 40 plus years. I mean, that is so cool in itself, right? So to even have well,
I don't know how cool it is, Mark, because it hasn't changed. I obviously haven't had an impact, because in 40 years, it's still 90% of the people at the start line look like, oh my God.
Yeah, but I'm just talking about for you. But you're living your life doing what you love to do, which is helping people. Be really what it comes down to. And I say this a lot of times, and this is coming from a dude who, I grew up surfing all my life, right? So I was never uncomfortable in the ocean and the waves and all that kind of stuff. But, I never even had one swim lesson ever. And what it comes down to, at least for me, and I feel like this is the sentiment for a lot of people, and it's, the swim, like you were saying, let's get through the swim, right? Let's just get through the swim. But, it's not like, I really don't care. I don't give a F like how fast I am. Like, who cares? I'm just some middle-aged age grouper. Like, what do I care? But I want to like have fun, right? Yeah. So the more I swim, the higher my volume gets, the more confidence I get in the swim, makes it like way more fun. And I think that is kind of the key for most people, and why most people look for a coach, right?
And you want to enjoy the process. I mean, you look at Morro Bay. We all heard about Morro Bay this last year, where I think it was the quarter that people who entered the water didn't finish the swim because the current was so strong. So we had 20 athletes racing Morro Bay. You'd say if a quarter didn't finish, probably about 5 Tower 26 athletes wouldn't finish, just the way the odds are. And not one of our athletes did that. All of our athletes made it through Morro Bay. They obviously had really poor times based on what they usually did, but they went into it performance prepared based on, with the tools and with the skills to go out there and execute even in those rough conditions. So I'm not saying we have all the answers, but you see performances like that and their ability to think on their feet and pull out the right tool at the right time and get through that experience. Because like you said, Mark, 99% of people in that race are doing it for fun, and they want to have a good experience, and they want to cross the finish line smiling. And that's our goal, is to get them through that swim and not be dreading their first stroke.
Yeah. All right.
Well, and you also don't want to go to a race. You spend a lot of time training. You spend a lot of money in an airfare ticket if you're flying. hotel cost, food cost, prep cost, race entry fees, and then you can't even hop on your bike. So that's not the way to optimize your money also.
Right.
I know, it sucks. Like these things should be these things should cost less, you know?
Or all just be downriver swims. So.
Yeah. Speaking of that, so those of you guys who did Oregon, like everyone's always like, okay, if you raced Oregon, whether you're on Team Zoot or anyone else, and like you had a PR, like that is unbelievable. Like I think we get caught up, and I say we as like triathletes get caught up. I see all the time people that, you know, like someone will be like, I PR'd this Oregon, and then someone will chime in and be like, well, it was a downriver swim. I'm just like, dude, like let them have some joy, man. Like
showed up, you did the work. It's that other person that's got to pipe down. Like
that's like saying
revel in their glory.
Well, there was a tailwind, or like there was no wind in Kona this year, so it wasn't like, dude, who cares? First off, who cares? Second off, like yeah, there's always something. You know, there's also like a half-mile run out of transition. So like, I don't know. I don't understand. I don't get that, why people need to like constantly hate. And maybe it's because they're like, well, you know, I don't know. Who knows? That's just a whole nother.
That's just triathletes. That's the ego. That's just something you realize that's the sport. You got to know when to turn the noise down and just focus on yourself and your tight group of individuals that you surround yourself with.
Yeah. So if you PR Oregon, I salute you.
Oh yeah,
and you should own that for like
compliments to all of them.
Yeah.
So right now we're in like our race ready phase of training. So like we break our season down into different phases, right? Just because we want to make the best athlete possible, right? So we want the athlete showing up for these races not to just go into a race like Oregon and say, oh, I'm just getting ready for Oregon. We want them, like I said earlier, to have all those tools. So when they get into Oregon, they know, hey, I'm gonna lengthen my stroke out. I'm gonna get out of the water. I'm gonna be ready. I'm gonna pop right up. I'm gonna roll through transition. So we don't just get right there, though. We got to break it down into phases of training. So Gerry's built in these different phases of training throughout our year. So we're not just in the same thing session after session after session. These athletes know, hey, we're in this phase. We know this phase is coming in a few weeks, a couple months. This phase is coming. Gerry, how did you build those phases out for the season?
Well, I built them out based on the triathlon season in the Northern Hemisphere. So just sort of reverse engineered an optimized time based on when races were. So if you look at back in the beginning days, Mark, there were pretty much 3 months of the year were races.
Yeah, there wasn't that many races. There wasn't that many races out. Yeah.
So you know, you didn't have to really have a training plan per se. Now there's a 12-month calendar, right? But it's still a bell-shaped calendar where the bulk of races are in pretty much, you know, June, July, August, September. So we write a plan around the race season. You know, sort of a recovery phase that we start off with, technical, then we go into a big training base phase, and then some sharpening up stuff, and then we have a skill building phase for open water, and then right now, like Jim said, we're in our race ready phase, and where all the components of the first 4 phases come together, and all the workouts right now are specifically geared towards optimizing performance in the swim. I mean, in the bike and run too, for our athletes that are coached overall triathlon, but for the ones that just coach swimming, it's all about being able to perform really well, especially in races like Morro Bay, because you need to know what to do when you get to a race like Morro Bay, where there's a massive negative current versus like you were talking about, positive currents. Positive currents are great. And they're great to your point that you saluting. I salute people who go to positive current races, because here's the real benefit. And if you guys don't know this, sign up for every positive current race you can find. Really good swimmers can't get much of a lead on you in a positive current. They gain nothing. They gain very, very little. The slower swimmers have the biggest gain in positive currents. So your delta between the fastest athlete and the slower athlete is pretty narrow. But when you get into a negative current swim, that delta widens up so greatly. In fact, we did this thing, Jim, you might remember. I talked about it maybe on one of our podcasts or with our group, that somebody, Mark, that swims at 4 miles an hour, really elite athlete, right? 15 minutes per mile. They would be hindered if you have a negative current of, I think what we talked about, 102 knots. Yeah. They would be hindered about 25%. I'm sorry, they'd be hindered about 10%, whereas a much slower swimmer could be hindered up to 25 to 35%. And it went all the way to the slowest swimmers would not be able to complete the course. And then some others were hindered anywhere from 50 to 75%. I mean, the disparity is so significant because the faster swimmer has a tremendous amount of power anyway and a big engine, but specific power to get through negative currents. Whereas somebody, if you have a current of negative 1 mile an hour and you swim 1 mile an hour, well, you're not going anywhere, right? So
endless pool.
Exactly. So anyway, the point is, we train our athletes to have all these skills so you can apply the tools that are necessary on event day.
And then after we do this, Mark's going to go to the pool and do these skills. Because I think that's one of the most interesting parts is the skills that we've built into these sessions. Now, if Mark goes to his pool that's just full of people, he's going to be extreme. He might be embarrassed at first to do some of these things, but then you get used to it and everybody just knows Mark's the guy who jumps out of the pool and runs around. But these skills that we work in are all specific to race day. And obviously when we have 20, 30, 40 people in the pool to do them together, birds of a feather can do it together. Doing it alone, you might be you might not want to do it alone, but we have athletes all over the world doing these and reporting in, hey, everybody's looking at me for the first few times. But Gerry, what are some of these skills that we work on with our athletes?
Yeah, and Jim, by the way, I'm closer to the 50 than I am the other way around. So I don't care what people think about me doing anything these days, So
I'm telling you, Sean sent me the mock-up of that banana hammock. I'm like, these guys are all revealing. I mean, they don't care what they look like. This is great. I love it.
Let's hear it, Gerry. What are some of the things that you have going on?
So we got a warm-up set that takes place almost every single session during this phase, and it's about 12 minutes. And so for our fast athletes, it would be an 800. Then the next group would be a 700, then a 600. It goes all the way down to a 500 or a 400 for sort of your beginning athletes. And there's not a hard stroke. This is all completely easy. It's part of the warm-up, but they dive into the pool. And if they can't dive, you jump in, but you start in the pool deck. And then you swim a 100. You have to sight 2 times per 25. That's 8 sights for the 100. You climb out. You run for 10 to 15 seconds. Some facilities don't allow running, but you climb out and you jog stationary for 10 to 15 seconds, and then you dive back in or you jump back in. And you repeat that all the way through. Same effort, all easy, sighting 8 times per 100, 2 times per 25. So if you're going a 500, you've sighted 40 times, right? Done 40 sightings, you've done a deck up, you've jogged, and then you've dove back in or jumped back in, and you rinse and repeat that. So there's a ton of skills being built in, right? Doing just that easy set.
Wow. That sounds pretty awesome, actually. And I'm sure it jacks your heart rate up. Yeah, getting out and running and stuff, come back in.
Well, that's your T1 transition prep, right? Because what happens when you get done swimming, even if you're a very good swimmer, needless to say, if you're a lesser quality swimmer, you're going from horizontal to vertical and you start running, and it's always a ramp up out of the beach. Heart rate just skyrockets. Our thing is, how do we have the fastest T1 transitions?
Don't ask me, bro. I might as well be making coffee and the T1 transition. Yeah, that's interesting. That's a really good point. And I've never thought about that. Obviously, never coming from a swimming background or get any specific triathlon coaching. But that's one thing I struggle with. I struggle with that. Just my heart rate goes to like 1 billion, right from the gun, and I never settle in.
And then most of us are pretty crappy at sighting. I mean, it's something you don't really practice. So there's a specific way to sight that's a very smooth and silky way to do it. So you have to learn the mechanics of doing it. And trying to learn the mechanics on race day, well, that's not going to work out really well. So you need to practice it ahead of time, right?
Yeah, that's for sure.
So by the time our members get to races, they've done thousands of sightings.
All right. Yeah. Yeah, let's go into a little bit. And Jim, so let me put you said you had some stuff to share, but I want to put you guys.
I got to get a password. So let's put that on pause for me. I get my wife's password in order to share, because I was going to share. I have a video of that deck up, so you can see how crazy it looks when we go and do deck up. So if she can give me that password back, I can grant access on this program. But that's the thing. Like, our people go in and we know transitions are free time. So we might not be the fastest swimmers in the world. We might have strong swimmers, but we might be 2 minute per 100 pace. But if you can get through transition a minute faster than somebody else, you don't have to be the fastest swimmer. You're already making up time in transition. So by jumping out of the water, running around the bleachers, diving back in, that's exactly what we're doing on race day, and we're making every second count as we barrel through transition. We're getting used to that high heart rate as we go from horizontal to vertical. We're moving our legs just as we're going to do, practicing the way we play. So on race day, it's everything is dialed in exactly, and we know how we're going to feel when we get up out of that water, get through transition, and we make every second count. Because I can't tell you how many times I have an athlete after the race come to me and say, "Oh man, I was 5 hours and 12 seconds. I was 12 seconds away from breaking 5 hours. That's my main goal." We could find that 12 seconds in a lot of different places, and one of those main places is transition. If we can make every second count and you can finish knowing that you eked every second out of that course, might mean a PR, might mean a podium, it might mean you beat your best friend that you're betting beers after the race. Who knows what it's going to mean, but you don't want to finish and say, if I would have just been a little faster here or a little faster here, I would have made up this time. We want these guys to finish the race feeling good about the performance and knowing that you made every second count while on course.
Yeah. And, again, that comes back to, what we were talking about earlier is it just builds your confidence in, for the rest of the race and it leading up to the race and all that stuff, instead of having this anxiety of racing and swimming. And, I don't think there's many races that still, Gerry, you keep saying like back in the day, but like, I mean, my last full distance Ironman was still a mass start. So they don't do that anymore at all, do they?
Not as much, no. Back in the day, they were all mass start races.
Yeah, back in the day. I always have this like funny, I remember this I'm sure you guys remember probably even that old race Vineman that used to happen in the Russian River.
Best. You'd run through the whole thing.
Yeah, and yeah, but I remember one time, this was probably 2008, right? And I had this it's so funny because you go to a triathlon, right? And there's different like Jekyll and Hyde personalities within the race. So you're in transition in the morning, Jim's racked up next to me, and it's like, good luck, man. Yeah, good luck, bro. You need my pump, whatever, right? Like there's just like this crazy camaraderie. You get in the swim before the gun goes off, and you're just like, dude, hey Jim, hey man, have a kick-ass race. Like it's pretty awesome. Gun goes off, and then like you're like fighting for your life. Some dudes are crawling over you, you're getting kicked. It's just like Thunderdome in the water, right? And it kind of carries on a little bit onto the bike, so you get those people on the bike that are just mashing, and then there's still some of that fighting on the bike, and then you transfer to the run, and it's back to like, dude, you're looking awesome, man. So
it's true. That's one thing that we practice is close quarter swimming, and we do a lot of drafting, and it's extremely uncomfortable for these guys, especially the first few times they're doing drafting or open water or close quarter swimming in a pool, because they're hitting each other's feet, they're touching each other. Nobody wants to be touched. They always think it's on purpose. Oh, this guy hit me. It's on purpose. He's trying to punch me. He's trying to slap me. He's pushing my head down. Nobody means to hit each other. It's just that's what happens when so many bodies are in a close quarter. I had a guy swimming for me last week, Mitch, and it was one of his first times doing pace line. And Troy kept touching his feet. And I'm down talking to somebody one end of the pool, and I hear, "Don't touch my effing feet again," right? And Troy is the nicest, most docile guy in the world. And Troy's just look at him, and Mitch is just aggro in his face. I pulled the whole team over. I said, "It's a perfect example. Troy doesn't want to pester Mitch. It's just everybody's swimming in close quarters. He's touching his feet. This is going to happen on race day. Mitch, are you going to let your whole race go to crap because you let him touching your feet affect you and get your mindset and your flow all out of whack? You can't do it." So we practice it here. We get used to people touching our feet and that uncomfortable nature of that feeling, and we go to race day and it won't affect us. We go in there and we perform, and we can stay focused and mindful of the process. So I tell Troy that I told Mitch to yell at him like that so I can make a point of it just to make Troy feel better. But it was a great example of we got to practice in the pool in that stable environment. So then we go out to the dynamic environment of race day. We can get into our own swim stroke, execute to the best of our ability, and not let all that rigmarole that's going on around us affect our performance.
Yeah, that's a good point. Jim, you got a lot of fans coming in, and I don't know if these guys are all on Team Zoot, but I keep shout out to Joe. That's my coach. I was telling Jim and Gerry earlier, I sat next to one of Jim's athletes on the way on the plane ride back from Salem, and we chatted pretty much the whole time, which was pretty cool. But you gotta.
Megan Perlstein. Megan's a great example of just consistency. There's no shortcuts. She does the work. Every session I put on her Training Peaks, she gets it done. If she can't do it, then we talk about it and we keep moving forward. She does all the subscription plan workout. We have a subscription plan that we send out to all of our non-local athletes that tells the athletes exactly what they should be doing, and it usually lines up with what all of our local athletes are doing in the pool. She knocks those out one at a time, gives me great feedback on it, and she goes into these races performance prepared, and the results speak for themselves. So
don't worry, I already gave her. She's like, I was, I asked her how long she's been doing in triathlon. She's like, like a couple of years, and I could tell she fits perfect because she was like not super excited about her race, and I was like, well, what did you do? And she's like, she was like 440 something, right? I can't remember, but I was like, yeah, just shut up. I'm like, just it's kind of the mentality of the triathletes, which is pretty cool, and why we're always trying to kind of improve. But it does coming in swimming, biking, and running, right? It does. The more you kind of just get better at it, it makes it just way more enjoyable.
And that's the thing. Like you go to all these swim coaches all around the world and say, okay, I want to get better. What do I have to focus on? And we've whittled it down. Gerry's formulated the technical phase of training to not be everything under the sun, right? We've whittled down into 3 different buckets that athletes can focus on and get better in those buckets, as opposed to thinking about. I mean, when you think about swim stroke and swim technique, where does mine go? Just 1,000 different places. And what we do is especially in our technical phase, but as we progress through all the phases of training, we always work each previous phase into the sessions. But Gerry, what are those technical pillars that we built into our triathlon training specific workouts?
Yeah, tautness, alignment, and propulsion. I mean, we put all the technical aspects into those 3 categories. And
so tautness, how you hold your body, right?
Body posture, body composition, and then alignment.
Alignment, right? Like how
straight
you are,
how straight you are, what you need to do, the placement of your hands, what you do with your hands and your arms beneath the surface of the water, and then propulsion. And the interesting thing is that's the order you have to learn it in: tautness, alignment, propulsion. But everybody wants to start with propulsion. Tell me how to pull harder. Or push more, and that's the last component. And in fact, if it was the most important component, all those 6-year-old girls wouldn't be beating most people. Those little 6-year-old girls and boys,
thing in the world. Mark knows it.
They have no power.
You're in the lane next to like a 6, 7, 8-year-old girl, and she's flying by.
Dude, not even that. The 70-year-old person too. I get smoked by pretty much everybody. But it is amazing to see someone that has it dialed in, and it just like, I'm struggling to suck air, and the people that kind of have it dialed are just, it's almost like a sailboat that's just gliding in it. It's so nice to watch. So
maybe we should tell, like, how do we work tautness? How do we work the posture pillar of our technical phase of training?
Well, I think that we have this series up here in Santa Barbara called Reef and Run. And it goes on. There are 2 series up here. One's called Night Moves. It's every single Wednesday for 13 or 14 weeks during the summer. And then Thursday is something called Reef and Run. And it's every Thursday for a dozen weeks. There's a 500 swim, a 1K swim, and a 1.5K swim. So this is 2 days a week, Wednesday and Thursday night, for 12 to 14 weeks. And athletes go do both of them. So they're participating or racing anywhere from a dozen to 20-something times during the season. And just yesterday, I went down to our the local event, and one of the athletes up here, we started our Tower 26 group up here. We've got 20 people in it. And this girl, Karen, she's been swimming and doing triathlon for a number of years. She swims pretty consistently 36 minutes in her 1 mile swim. 36 minutes, 35, 30, 37 minutes, right in that range. And the course is fairly static, so everyone's fairly consistent. Yesterday, 31 minutes, 5-minute drop.
Wow.
And she was like, what happened? Well, she learned proper sighting, navigation. She learned race takeout speed. She had major technical alignment problems that we worked on fixing those. Her propulsion was soft. There are a number of things that she was doing incorrectly. And piece by piece over the last several months, we worked on them. And this is a substantial drop from 36 minutes to 31 minutes for a 50. I think Karen's in her early 50s. That's a big drop. And she's not swimming any more than she used to, but she's just swimming, doing the correct mechanics and the proper type of training prescription. I mean, that's the key thing. You don't have to do more than you've been doing. You just got to do the right thing to get the reward or the return that's necessary for your time.
Yeah, I think a lot of people fall into that, you know, especially the triathletes, like, you know, if their Strava numbers or their Garmin Connect numbers aren't off the charts, they feel like they're not doing enough. Whereas, you know, like if it was someone like me, who I'm a crappy swimmer, you know, why do I need to keep being a crappy swimmer? If I'm practicing crap, I'm going to probably just get crap in return, right? Instead of like focusing on some technique and maybe bringing it down with the limited time
You're
I
so
have.
true about the Strava thing. I remember I went on Strava whenever. I don't even know if I'm on it still or not. I don't post anything on it, but and I think I did a swim workout and I swam 2,800 yards. So I'm 2,950 yards, 2,950 yards. And I didn't even know I swam 2,950 yards. And there were a bunch of comments of, well, why didn't you go 3,000? You were so close to it. and I said, I never, when I write workouts for our athletes, I never count the volume. It's not about the volume. So it could be 2,900, it could be 2,995 yards for all I matter. Do you think the extra 5 yards makes a difference? It really doesn't. But to your point, athletes like let's round it up to the 3,000 or 4,000 or 5,000, whatever it may be. For me, it's more about the specific ingredients that go into the session that we need to get these things anchored in, get them done well, and whatever the volume ends up being is what it ends up being.
I think I can share this screen. So let me show an example of a workout we're going to do this Saturday in the pool. Let me see. Can I share the screen or not? You seeing anything?
I'm not seeing anything. Hold on. You could present. You should be able to present. Share it on the. We're not. Listen, guys, we're not that smart. If you haven't figured it out.
Yeah, no. It's here's the deal. My wife, it's her Apple account, and I can't access it with this thing. So whatever. We'll post it on your page later. But
okay.
What Gerry's saying about it just has so many different ingredients that we're putting into these sessions that leaves everybody ready to rock.
Yeah, and I think, you know, there's a lot of people. So, Tower 26, TriDot has their pool school. You know, at least when I think of it, you know, and the reason why I do this sport, obviously, is, you know, I got into it at a much younger age, but like really I think everyone needs to remember that we're still doing it for fun, right? And like swimming. So I swam this morning, Jim. So I don't need to swim this afternoon. I'm good. I'm fine.
For the rest of the week, you're fine. I'll give you off the rest of the week.
Yeah. Afternoon swims, dude, I'm way too old for that. Afternoon workouts at all. But, you know, the same goes for cycling too. Like especially right now, we're in Southern California and most of the country is experiencing a really good summer anyway. But, you know, fortunately we get to swim outside year round, which is pretty cool. But, you know, like on mornings like this morning, it was, you know, 7 a.m. I think I got in the pool at, you know, just before 7 and it's sunny already. And the water's nice, the air is nice. And just like this simple, like act of swimming it's so enjoyable to just be out and like swim and nothing, you know. And as I get older, I think that will probably be the only thing I start doing once I can't ride or run anymore, you know, because it's just a pleasure to do. And I think people need to kind of get back to like, hey, let's just do this for fun and get better at it and have a better, and, you know, the better technique you get and the more fun it is and etc. So.
Yeah, and that's Jeremy. And you have a tough time with your knees right now, and you know you've really gotten back in the swing of swimming. And I mean, how fitter are you in the last 6 months since you've been really consistent swimming?
Well, I swim alone, so I don't take a hard stroke anymore. I'm in the Mark the Mark G camp of really enjoying it and having a good time. And
yeah.
It's funny when Gerry says he doesn't take a hard stroke, he's still swimming like 110, 100. So
I swam last year. So one of our pro athletes came out. A lot of you guys know her, Ellie Salthouse. She was in town And, any excuse that I have to not come into the office and to like work out with some of my athletes, I take 100% of the time. Jim, if you ever want to come down, we can swim at the pool. We'll go for a bike ride. No problem.
Love it.
But, and so I was like, hey, meet me in my house, like we're not going in the office. And we did a run and a swim at that pool I was telling you about. And she had it was a recovery swim for her. And, it's not often that you get to swim with people that are, probably to your caliber. And I forgot what we were doing, but, she's just like, well, she was doing like 600s or something. And she's like, well, you do 3. And she still just destroyed me just because her technique is so much better. And I was just looking at her, I was just like, F you, not that it's not effortless for her. She put all this time in and she's learned, her good stroke and everything, but just to see it and experience it, I'm just here dying.
Well, I always see that too. Like you look at someone like Gerry, who's been swimming since he could walk, right? And then I didn't start swimming until 2005. I could always survive in the water, but I never swam a length, right? So I remember the first time of this big 210-pound hockey player, I show up at the pool and I couldn't make it one time across. Right? I was like, I can do this, no problem, fitter than I've ever been in my life, and I just couldn't get across the pool, right? But if you go and put ice skates on me, and if I haven't skated for 10 years, I'm gonna put those skates on and I'm gonna skate circles around someone who learned to skate as an adult. It's the same thing as swimming, right? It's like Gerry's been swimming since he's been 5. Someone who's just coming to sports, sure, they can look good and they can make some really big gains, but to get the feel and mimic the feel that someone like Gerry has, it's an extremely huge task.
Yeah. Yeah. Something that, we're all inherently, all of it, you throw a dog in the water, they automatically know how to swim.
Yeah.
I guess the same could be said for running. It's something we all know how to do, but none of us could do it well, or very few of us could do it well.
Gerry has the 3 Fs. Gerry, what's the 3 Fs?
Well, that's the fear, moving from fear to familiarity through frequency. But there's a big difference between swimming and running and riding. When you're running, you have one anchor point. Your feet are anchored to the ground, constantly, over and over, repetition. When you're riding, you've got 3 anchor points. You're clipped in, your ass is on the saddle, and your hands are at the front. So you got 3 anchor points. When you're swimming, you have none. You are, and then you're also suspended because you're somewhat weightless. Over 90% of your body weight is displaced. So it's a complete. We have a lack of awareness of what we're doing. We have very little proprioception in the water because it's not something we're familiar with. Whatever Jim was saying, he weighed 210 pounds. I think he probably weighed 220, 230. When he showed up on the pool deck, he looked like freaking Hulk man. Exactly. And I remember he asked me, well, what do I need to do here? I want to do triathlons. I said, well, the first thing you have to do is lose like 30 or 40 pounds, which he did. He chiseled that body down to what it is now. But he had to learn spatial awareness, how to hold his body in the water properly, which is tautness. And there's a big difference between tautness and tightness. We don't want tightness. We want just enough structural integrity in the water without being tight or floppy, right? So it's just the right dosage of how to hold your muscles. That's tautness. And we have to take Jim through the steps as we do with everybody else. And we don't have that in running and riding because we learned to run as little kids growing up. Most of us had a bicycle. But swimming, there's really no muscular awareness of what to do, where to place your hands. And in fact, there's nothing that you do in your day-to-day life that resembles anything close to the swim stroke. Nothing.
I think I say it every single day to an athlete. If you move your legs harder when you're running, you go faster. If you move your legs faster when you're running, you go faster. Move your legs faster when you're cycling, you go faster. Move your arms faster when you're swimming, you go backwards, right? It has nothing to do with how fast your arms are moving. It's how much water you can grab and press behind you.
Yes, I had to throw out, Mark, all the sort of the isms of swim coaches and coaches that I had over the years that were, those coaches, and many of us want to go, oh, such and such, I'm going to go get a tip from Michael Phelps' coach. Well, Michael Phelps' coach just coaches Michael Phelps, and Michael Phelps is of the world. They don't coach people like you. That's not their area of expertise. You need to find somebody who understands what it takes for somebody who swims 36 minutes per mile, 45 minutes per mile, 25 minutes per mile, all these different levels, and who's able to break it down to the simplicity of understanding really the necessary ingredients. And I think the worst thing that many athletes do today is go on YouTube and watch swimming, or watch the teaching of swimming on YouTube, because I'm old enough to be around when there was no YouTube. Okay. And in fact, I started one of the first swimming sites about close to 40 years ago. 30 years ago, 1995. We were getting ready to do a program for the 96 Olympics. And the interesting thing was, what happened with the internet was everybody went from being listening to coaches, learning from coaches from books, to publishing now on the web. Anybody could publish anything. You didn't have to be an authority. So now you have any and everybody publishing. I mean, I open up my Facebook page. There's so many TikTok videos or reels of, I can't tell you how many folks, I have no idea who they are, posting what to do with swimming. Here's a 10-second reel or 8-second reel or 12-second video clip, on of which 90% of it is pure junk. And if you don't know much about swimming, what filter do you have to know if who you're listening to knows what the hell they're talking about? And most of them don't.
Gerry, I think you could spread that across any subject in the world, right? It's so interesting to
it's correct. That is true. But at least growing up, we learned how to freaking walk and run, and we all had a bicycle. In swimming, we don't have any foundation. Most folks who didn't swim on a swim team. So that's what makes it much, much more challenging. So
I just posted a video of your 5 training phases. It's from your YouTube page. Speaking of YouTube, but there's two guys on here. I think they're different. I don't think they're you guys, because you guys look much, much, much younger.
Be careful, my friend. In a blink of an eye, you're up to my age.
Oh, I tell the young guys that work here, I say, hey, I used to be the youngest guy, in the building, but it's just interesting. But you guys look good. So okay. So if you're an athlete, if you're a triathlete, and you want to, let's kind of go over this, because we have a lot of accessibility here, and one of the cool things about the Team Zoot team is, we have access to all these different things, but the real truth is like some stuff doesn't work for some people, right? So we have tri-dot training, we have the tri-dot 101 with the pool school. We have the, Matt, we sponsor Matt Hansen, and he trains people and he's got a bunch of coaches. There's some local coaches here, around here. There's you guys, so I always try to encourage people that are looking for something to try this out for a while. If it doesn't work for you, then you'll know fairly quick, right? But your guys you're now offering us a different kind of venue, and the athletes that are looking for it. So if you wanted to improve your triathlon swimming and your training, how do you go about that? Contacting you guys? Just go to your website. Like, what's going on? What do you guys offer? One-on-one? I see you offer one-on-one. You offer remote training.
Yeah, I mean, we do pretty much, or we have the smorgasbord, whatever athletes want. But we have one-on-one triathlon coaching. We have local swim workouts. We have a subscription triathlon plan that gives you what to do every single day. That's a little less than the one-on-one in-person triathlon training. But what we've been speaking about mostly here is athletes who aren't local to Southern California, to Santa Monica, El Segundo, Santa Barbara, Pacific Palisades, that Southern California Los Angeles-based area. Is we have a subscription plan that these athletes can do the exact workouts that we're doing at the location-based sessions, and it's broken down into a ton of detail with video, audio files, the ability to leave comments, and all this stuff all these skills and technique is integrated in each of these sessions, and it's extreme amount of detail for these swimmers. Jared, did I hit it on the head?
Yeah, you hit it on the head, but Mark mentioned a couple of good things. One, you've got these great resources already. Tri-dot. I mean, I haven't been to any of their sessions, but I'm going to presume they're pretty darn good. Matt Hansen obviously has a great reputation. He's been around for ages. Incredibly outstanding runner, and I'm sure he knows what the heck he's doing. So these are really good resources that are available. And the most important thing is whatever location you're at, wherever you are listening to this or watching this, there's probably somebody that's local for you that can see you swim 2 or 3 times a week. And if you can get involved with them, that's ideal because they get to see you and give feedback. But you just have to make sure that that person actually understands your sport really well and is pretty good at what they're doing. The thing is, many folks teach swimming, but they don't. Just even locally here in Santa Barbara, I saw a guy come by and was teaching a session, and I realized, and I inquired after, this was a very, very good swimmer. I mean, world-class swimmer. But he would not be effective for any triathlete that went to him. So you have to really be able to qualify your resource. If you have those resources at your location, then you use those resources. If you don't, then you go outside of your location and you get together with TriDot or Matt or us or whomever it may be. But find the reputable folks that are around that have proven to have success.
Yeah, that's a good point. And some of you guys, some of the guys that are chiming in here they're already aware of Tower 26, but I don't think a lot of people or that are watching this later may not know that you guys also have a really cool podcast. How often do you guys put out your podcast?
Approximately every 2 weeks. We took a little hiatus last year. It was a little hit or miss, but we're back on it every 2 to 3 weeks. We're getting that podcast out. And actually, this live interview right now, I'm going to put on it for this podcast episode. So, Mark, I hope you're not embarrassed easily or you're shy at all, I should say, because when I send this out, and right away, 5,500 downloads, and then from there it just grows. So
let's go. Someone is to hear my whiny voice other than me. I need some intro music though.
I'll put it all in there. I clean it up and make it nice, and everybody talk about your buttery tones the way they talk about ours.
All right. If you guys haven't listened, I know there's a lot of podcasts, and admittedly, I don't listen to a lot of triathlon podcasts, and maybe it's because I'm in the industry and I'm immersed in it. But whenever we travel to a race, and it's usually Sean and I traveling somewhere, we always put on like the Tower 26 podcast. Yes. And because there's a lot of other ones, and some of them I'm just like, and then the podcasts that talk like. And some of the guys are and I'm not going to mention these dudes, and I know some of them, but like there's a group of a couple guys that always, and I'm like, one of the guys just seems like a total prick. Yeah. And and so I think I just get turned off. But
here's one of the good things.
I listen to yours, it's super entertaining.
Here's one of the good things. Thanks to Jim, I think it was 2 or 3 podcasts ago, we went to task on Ironman, and I know that's never a good thing to do because I am a massive fan of Ironman, and I have no issues with their race entry fees, the prices, because I've owned several races and own one currently, and we sponsor races. So I'm well aware of what it costs to put events on. I'm a big fan of the sport, of Ironman doing what they've done in the sport. But Ironman has issues regarding the swim. They don't have warm-ups allowed. They've not been really good about some of the courses that they've chosen up for the swim. So we talked about it 2 or 3 episodes ago, a few months ago, right after Morro Bay, right?
Yeah.
Well, guess what? I got a phone call within a week, and they started implementing a number of the things we talked about. So not only you, we have 2 listeners now to our podcast.
At least, and my mom.
Add somebody at Ironman.
3. My mom listens too. That's 3.
So that's you, Sean, your mom, and somebody at Ironman.
That is interesting too when you talk about what you just said, because luckily I have at my disposal, and this is not like a flex or anything, but like we sponsor a lot of professional racers that are still racing at the top end of the sport, and so. Like we have this one, and if you guys don't know who Mark Dubrick is, they call him Mark the Shark.
Yeah,
he's a super good swimmer. And before Oregon, I called him up. I was like, "Hey, dude, I need like 2 tips. Like 2 tips. I always go out and I can't get my heart rate down. What's going on?" And he's like, and this is one of the things he said. So he's like, "Well, for us, it's different because we need that get out speed, and they let us warm up. But as age groupers, they don't let you guys warm up. And so this is what I would do." Is X, Y, and Z, which was pretty cool. But it is interesting, and the swim really does kind of set up your race. It really makes or breaks your day
Well, it
on
sets the
on
tone
many
for,
occasions. You know,
right? It sets the tone for how you're going to feel, how you start off the day, certainly, and so get it
Yeah.
done right. They can do a better job, and they are doing a better job. So I'm glad they listen to the podcast.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So kudos to you guys, and you're putting it out, which is pretty cool. And together we all are making these cool changes, and you know, it is a small community.
You and Mark Dubrick would appreciate this. A number of years ago, we did a podcast, and I took Jim and I took Lucy Charles and her husband and did a review of their swim strokes, because they are two completely different swimmers. Lucy Charles, everybody knows the name, right? Super high cadence. I mean, really fast, you know, always first out of the water. And her husband is this pool polished, elegant, beautiful swimmer. I mean, this guy, he makes Michael Phelps look like, I mean, he swims so elegantly. It's unbelievable. But she kicks his ass in open water.
Oh, yeah.
And we broke it down. And I can't remember the numbers, Jim. I think we had a couple 100,000 people listen to that podcast. I mean, it was absolutely insane, just breaking down the swim mechanics of the two, because both of those strokes are optimal. You need both. You just have to know which stroke to use based on the conditions you have that day. It's not, I just want to swim like Lucy, or I want to swim like Reese. You need both of those tools, and you know which one to pull out depending on race day conditions.
Well, I think just listening to this, you guys speak, I think I've improved my.
Told you. Well, give me an hour. Give us an hour with you, and you're already increased by 30 seconds per 100.
You know, the thing that's mostly stoked about this is like I get fired up, and I get even more excited to like start racing again. You know, and like it usually takes a race for me to be like, okay, now I'm gonna get in shape. Right, whether it's a gravel road race or a Ironman, a half Ironman, but it is.
Well, yeah, that's right, because we keep, it's fun to coach the workout, but the athletes look forward to coming to the workout because, they know they're gonna be jumping out of the pool, they know they're gonna be sighting, they're gonna be doing pace lining, and once you get a few under your belt and that uncomfortable feeling goes away, you look forward to a different dynamic than just going and doing laps. You look forward to getting on somebody's feet, getting race takeout effort, doing 25s with 4 people in a lane. Jumping out, running around bleachers, diving in. It just adds to the variety, and it makes it that much more enjoyable to do the swim workout.
Yeah. Would you guys, I don't know if you were planning on this, but would it be possible for you to share, once you could gain access of it, one of your workouts?
So what I was going to say, we'll open up. We have a session this Saturday. It's at coaching.tower26.com. I think Jason put that email in the side comments. I'll open it up so anybody who goes in can access that workout. It's the B workout. So our week is broken down with 2 A workouts. Those are our primary sessions. And then we have a B supporting session, which is similar to the A session. And then we have a C recovery session. So our C sessions typically on Mondays. Our 2 A sessions take place anywhere from Tuesday to Friday. And we do our B session on Saturday. So I'll open up our B session. So anyone who goes to coaching.tower26.com, you start a profile for free. And the reason you have to start a profile is you have to put in what level swimmer you are, because it's not one size fits all, right? So if you're a level 1 swimmer, a fast swimmer whose 100 time is what, Gerry? 1 minute to 1:10, somewhere in there?
1:10 or faster, yeah.
1:10 or faster. And then what's level 2?
1:15-ish to 1:25, then 1:30. 1:30 to 1:50 for level 3, 1:50 and slower for level 4.
So we break these workouts down based on your level. So a level 4 swimmer isn't doing the same workout and same volume as a level 1 swimmer. If a level 4 swimmer is doing the volume of a level 1 swimmer, they might be there for 3 hours, right? So everything's broken down on level with our platform. So you have to start a free profile. You start that profile, and then you'll have access to that B session, which is taking place. It's already up, I think, isn't it? You put it up already, Gerry. So it's up. So you can see it. You can listen to audio file. You can see all the videos that are attached to it, and you'll be able to see the details of the workout.
I think the thing to do is to invite Mark and his group to come up to LA and visit one of our pool workouts, and more importantly, our beach workout.
Oh, geez. Is the water cold right now? I don't know.
It's 70 degrees. Come on, you can wear your fancy.
I don't even surf anymore, Gerry. This is what I give it. I leave that up to the kids now. No one needs one extra dude in the lineup.
Well, so our like we said, we're named after Tower 26. Every Wednesday, 6 a.m. we're at Tower 26 swimming in the open water. But it's not just here go swim. We'll see you in a half hour. Gerry, how do we structure those sessions on Wednesdays?
Oh, it's a coach workout, Mark. I mean, it's divided up into ability levels, just as Jim was saying, level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. And there is one of the worst workouts someone can do is to go swim in open water for 30 or 40 or 50 minutes straight. But that's actually a decent workout to do once or twice. But after you do 2 or 3 times, its value goes from high value to very low value quickly. So our open water sessions none of them are continuous swims that are like that. They're all broken up into 4 to 10 minute circuit segments with.
We put buoys out. We practice buoy turns. We practice race starts. We practice deep water starts. So all that stuff is integrated into those Wednesday swims. So Mark,
we'll for sure have to connect on that, and maybe I'll bring Sean up, and I'll pitch it. I'll be like, we're going to convert these guys to start working with Zoot custom. What's going on? Dump whatever.
I love it.
Dump whatever they got. So yeah.
Do we have any questions come in? I haven't looked at the right hand side. Anybody got anything they want to go over? Do we cover everything that you guys were looking to cover? What do you think? How are we looking? Anything on your mind that we didn't cover?
No, I think, I mean, as like cliche as it sounds too, I think really the really cool thing that you guys, I mean, people talk about mindset, and I think we think we're more important than we are. And I'm always like, dude, we're just like, this is like a hobby, right? Like this is but we still, like Gerry was saying, we're spending money on the flight, the race, the gear, the bike, all that stuff. So we still want to get our best experience out of it. And so it's really kind of cool. And the coaching that you guys offer is like, it's so valuable. I would rather pay for that than like a new set of wheels, right? Like, just because it's like, whatever, right? Like it's something that you'll take with you for a very long time. Wheels, you won't. But
I also, I say it. Another thing I say really frequently is this is an outlet from all of our everyday rigmarole. Everything, all that stress of work, family life. This is an outlet from all that. We don't want it to be an addition of stress. So if we're going to race day as prepared as we can be, confident in our preparation, having ticked all the boxes, obviously race day hurdles pop up and you got to pull out the right tool at the right time to overcome those hurdles. But you're right, it's an outlet from everything else, and we got to enjoy it. And the only way that we can go into and enjoy that race day is if we're prepared for it. So
yeah, I'm coming for you, Ashley Anderson. She's my team captain. She just destroyed me last weekend in Salem. Like, hey, oh my gosh.
Hey, give me a call. I'll give you a call. I'll give you all the secrets. All the secrets is how to crush Ashley.
Geez, I don't know. And she's young, so I might be over it. But I like to talk smack. So, that's right up my alley.
What else we need? We need Team Zoot to overtake Tower 26 at the Santa Barbara Triathlon at the end of August. What is it? August 24th, Santa Barbara Triathlon. It's our home team race. Team Zoot, I'm calling you out. If you guys can come, take our spot. My calendar. Take our spot on the top of the podium for most club members. Mark, I'll do a keg stand after the race for you. 30-second keg stand.
Is that before or after the beer mile?
Here's the thing: I'm announcing the race, so we could do it before and after. We'll see how I act throughout the race if I do a keg stand.
That might work. I'm taking a vacation, a road trip the week before. I'm actually, I don't know, Gerry, if you've ever done it, but I'm sure you probably won it a few times. But the last couple of years, we've done the Naples Island swim in Long Beach, and so last year I did the 3-miler. Which was pretty fun. I mean, not fun, but I got, it was fun.
It's pretty cool swimming under all those bridges, right?
Yeah. And then that would be on Sunday. Our team captain, shout out to John Romay, and then his wife, who's my coworker. They plan on racing the Santa Barbara Tri, and they were trying to get us in there. But so Jim, send me all the stuff. I'll post it. I'll have all my captains post it, and we'll post it locally to get some people doing the Santa Barbara Tri.
I'll get it up. I'll open that workout at coaching@tower26.com for that B session this week, and you guys can have at it. I think that session's great because it puts in all the components of what we do in this phase of training for most of the sessions. It's not too many different sets. It's a bunch of 200s, I think. Isn't that right, Gerry? It's 200 deck up, sighting, paceline, race takeout speed. So it adds all the ingredients into one session. Obviously, most of our athletes have built into it, but if you put the correct level, it'll be scaled to your ability level. So I'll open that up, and it should be open by the end of the day.
Mark, come visit us in Santa Barbara at some point, and tell Sean hello for me, and tell him come by and say hi. Also, Santa Barbara is not a bad place, just in case you haven't been here.
How big's your guest room, bro? I have 2 kids and a dog. We might not leave.
We got a guest house. So
Yeah.
Oh, what? Okay, I'm in.
Yeah.
It's the Tower 26 guest house. It actually has a big Tower 26 light up marquee above it. So
yeah, my Molly's up there right now. I'll just have her swing. Actually, no, we don't need to give Molly any tips. Okay, she's already close. But truly, guys, and thanks for joining. And for those of you guys on Team Zoot, especially if you're local, I please encourage you to check these guys out at Tower 26. And if you're not local, check out their online programs. They have some a wealth of knowledge, and we really appreciate it. And it's all to make us better. We're building the bridge, and
that's it.
I don't want it to fall. So thanks so much, gentlemen, for coming in. And Santa Barbara Triathlon once again, August 24th. That gives us a whole month.
About a month. Get ready for it.
Yeah, the whole month to get ready for it. So
yeah, buddy, we really appreciate you having us on here. This is a great opportunity to meet your folks and display some knowledge, and also make this connection at 2 different companies that really enjoy being in the sport and giving back to the athletes. So
yeah, see you in Kona this year. Are you going to be there?
I'm going to try and make the trip. We have a bunch of athletes racing, so take the Tower 26 / Zoot PJ over, and have some fun.
All right, let's go. Thanks, gentlemen.
All right, Mark.
Thanks, Team Zoot.
Later, guys.
Bye.